Okay, we are recording.
Okay, so we are discussing task two. And with task two, we were expected to complete our evaluations that we created as if we were still in school and as if there were students and teachers in the building. And it said over the course of 5 days, so you were to collect the data. So I've done that and uploaded that. Also included my abstract portion. Only thing I am missing is the chart piece. And I know some of you ladies did include your chart, and they look nice. So I just need I just need to play with that a little bit and get it done. But for task two, I went, my paper took a turn like midway. It started off going over, the gap analysis and the needs assessment and basically things that were in task one. And it seemed really repetitive. So then I kind of flipped it and started talking about areas that needed growth that the teachers were falling short in. And I had several of those, professional development being one, evaluation of school staff, teacher leadership, and decision making. And those weren't areas of concern because teachers aren't doing them. I felt, for instance, professional development fell short because our county doesn't really offer any at this time, other than that guided reading professional development or guided math. And those aren't really an option. You have to do it. So I feel like we've kind of fell off in professional development a little bit in that area.
Okay. So you
I
did
agree.
have multiple. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rhoda. Oh, well, I agree. I was going to write about the same gap that I noticed because in my research that I was doing, it mentioned that if the professional development was to be used correctly, you go to the professional development, you use it in your classroom, you have someone observe you, give you feedback, continue to use it, discuss if it's working with your colleagues, your other colleagues use it too, and those things aren't happening.
Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It's like we go and we come back, and whether we use it or not, nobody cares,
Right. Well, after learning what should happen, you feel a little cheated because there is such a push for guided reading in elementary school. Mm-hmm. And I sat through, I believe, 6 weeks of training on guided reading after school on a Thursday every week. And then they give you this big, thick book, and they're like, here you go. And they go through and they show you this and they show you that, and nobody ever follows up with you. And it's like, well, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? What am I doing? There's no help there.
I'm sorry. With our professional development, every time we attend a professional development, we have to come back, put together a PowerPoint, and present it at the faculty and staff meeting. We have to.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. So we have to, and the principal he will stay or she will stay on and make sure that we have everything put together, our worksheets, and we present it, and sometimes we even pretend that we're teaching to the faculty and staff, passing out the worksheets that we come up with. So that's something that we did, we had to.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was helpful. I thought it was very helpful.
I'm kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum. Professional development was the one area that my school on my chart was accomplished. Mm-hmm. Because we do every week. They take Wednesdays, take away your planning, and all day our instructional coordinator, and a lot of times they'll hire people from UNCG, NC State, wherever to come in and train us. And every week we have professional development, and it's based on walkthrough data. It's based on evaluations. It's based on the previous year's working condition survey, all that stuff. And they do, and every week you have it. And then our principal has a Google Doc that we all have to fill out once a week saying how we've used something that we learned in our professional development sessions. And I mean, we have Rockingham County offers a lot of professional development. And if I like last summer, I decided that I wanted to learn about extreme reading. And I went to my curriculum facilitator, and she was like, well, I would like for you to do it too, but we can't afford it. So I went to the guy who's over high school EC, told him. He said, well, let's find out from Stephanie, who's the lady that's over all at EC in the county. She's like, yes, do it. And they paid for it. Like, all I had to do was say I wanted to do it. And I got to do it.
You had to go outside of the county to receive that?
I had to go to Greensboro.
Yeah. But see, I
for
live
3 days.
Yeah, our county is so big. I couldn't even think about them doing exactly what they did for you, which I think is awesome. Whatever they offer.
Stephanie, excuse me 1 second. Ladies, we're going to have to talk fast because we're having a storm.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to talk kind of fast because I don't want to lose my internet.
No, we don't want you to do that.
I'm sorry, Stephanie. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That's what I was just saying. I think it's great because it sounds like it's very effective, and I wish our county was like that, but maybe the smallness of your county allowed them to do that for you, because I don't work that closely with anybody in any department. It seems so far away from me that if I wanted to do anything specialized, I would have to ask somebody within my school, like my principal, for money to go there.
And Guilford County does do a lot of PD within the county. Like, that's how I got guided reading trained. That's how I got CHAMPS trained. But their downfall is the follow-up. Because actually, speaking of guided reading, when I was in Guilford County, we all got trained on guided reading, and my principal would come in your room and watch you do guided reading. And I remember, like, she would make people cry every week about how we're not doing it right, blah, blah, blah. Well, then turns out our curriculum facilitator leaves, and it turns out that our principal had thought that our curriculum facilitator was coming in all the time and helping us with guided reading, and that's why she was so harsh. But nobody was coming in and helping us, and she didn't know that. So, like, it was just a big thing where it was like we got trained, but then we were forced to do it, but we didn't know really, like, applicate, and it was horrible.
Right. So I think the big thing with professional development is just we need more support or more accountability on our part, like the present to the staff or like the Google Docs that you guys do. So something in that arena. Another area was evaluation of staff. And the reason mine was short in that area is because of the peer-to-peer evaluations. A lot of times in the building, you have your friends and we like each other so much, or either we don't like each other and I'm gonna do your evaluation and it's gonna be a problem.
Right. Now, Paula, which one did you say recruitment place? Which one did you just talk about? I'm sorry.
This is for evaluation of staff.
Okay, I got you.
Approaches to evaluation of school staff.
Okay.
And one piece of that was peer-to-peer evaluations, and every school does that. For instance, this year I had to have 4 evals, and one was from a peer. And she teaches on 5th grade team with me, so why wouldn't it be anything but good? So I think as the administrator, you have to look on a different hall, a different grade level, different areas, or maybe the EC department to come in and evaluate another teacher, but just mix it up a little bit.
But then you run into problems like the person who did my peer review this year was an Adobe teacher.
Was a what?
She taught, her job is to teach Adobe, like
the
computer
program?
Yeah.
Oh. And
she knows nothing about EC. So she did my evaluation. And then I complained about it. And my principal had to sit her down, say, you saw her you went in there and the kids were reading a story that was on like a 5th grade level, and you put that in there as a bad thing. But you're not an EC teacher, and you don't realize that that's what those kids are supposed to be getting.
Well, who sent her to do your evaluation?
My principal.
Well, then that's on him. He can't really.
No, it's my evaluation person is one of the APs. She's female.
Oh, well,
she's new. It's her first year. So, but then I went to her and I was like, look, you can't finalize this evaluation because it looks like I'm a horrible teacher, but she doesn't know what she was looking at. So she had to pull her in and fix it.
Right. So there needs to be more thought put into who does who evaluation.
Well, Paul, I think you were absolutely right, because what we were doing, we were picking the team. We wanted to do our observation. And then our principal went back and said, well, Miss Pickard, why don't you have, maybe Miss Jones to do your observation?
Right.
Because it's really not the best idea to get, I don't want to say a friend, but, someone to talk with to do your evaluation. So our principal jumped on that quickly.
Right. You have to.
Absolutely. And they picked the person they wanted to evaluate us.
Well, then the answer may lie in just providing more training for people before they do their observation. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's
true. Giving more training to them on how to observe people from that are not in their same content area before you pick people outside of content areas.
Right. This is true.
Okay.
So my question was, with our first one, when we did the needs assessment, we had to pick a single need for the school.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask too, because it says find a gap in these 5 areas. So could you just have one gap, or do you have to find one gap from each of the 5?
I found a gap in 3 of the areas.
Okay.
Which was my question was, is that appropriate? Do I have to pick a certain one to focus on?
Well, because you're going to do, because I kind of started on task 3, you're going to do like a needs assessment, just like we did with the APSL. Is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't think, you can't make up a gap if there's not one there. And
but do we have to do an action plan? Does anybody know? Is that the final goal here? Is an action plan? Because if it is, doesn't there have to be a single need for an action plan?
I think he just really wanted us to look at what teachers, we looked at our pressing needs. And at my school was improving the EOG test scores at the end of the school year. Mm-hmm. And you had to go through each of the 5 steps. And let's look at how or what teachers should be doing to increase the student test scores. Not making sense.
Yeah, and see, that was with the APSL, it was 1. We all had to pick like one area. Like you picked EOGs, I picked reading fluency.
Right.
Is it going to be the same thing with this, where we need to pick one need that we think is the biggest need?
Well, see, I picked reading and math because that was our need. So I kind of, but as he mentioned in the last video, you can't do math if you can't read. So focus more on reading, right?
Well, but the focus here is on one of those 5 areas.
Yeah, you got to pick a gap in one of those 5.
Now, are you relating that back to your original thing in the APSL?
I haven't really. I could go back and do it if I needed to, but I've been more focused on it
because I don't know.
I would just look at them separately for right now.
Yeah, until we hear right now, until I hear otherwise, I'm just kind of make like that was we were looking at student needs. Now we're looking at teacher needs, kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
And yeah, the next task will be creating a growth plan.
So then we're going to need to. I would imagine a growth plan is going to need one focus, right?
Well, your growth plan could have, you could be working on several of these if you wanted to. I know this year in our school, we worked on a professional development one for technology, one for communication with stakeholders. So as a school, you could be working on several.
So like a school improvement plan type of thing, where it's got like, you have to have so many.
Yeah.
But I thought we had to do all 5.
And that's what we're asking. Like if we, I didn't find gaps in all 5.
Exactly.
Because
we don't really need to show improvement, but if I do need to put a goal for each, that's something we could ask
next Tuesday.
I guess, so maybe if you didn't find the ones you didn't find a gap in, then you would put, you want to maintain it. Mm-hmm. So what would you do to maintain? As with the others, you need to do things to grow. You know, so that's one way we could do it, so that we just have it covered.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
What are you guys doing about the areas that you don't feel like you have, like, that you feel like, okay, yes, and we need improvement, but that's not something that's on the school level that can be?
Give an example.
Like we talked about with the recruitment, with, yes, we need to do better recruitment, but it's not up to us.
You can't control your applicants, right?
Exactly. So, yes, we need to improve in that area, but what am I supposed to do here? The restrictions placed on me at a county level are not conducive to me. That's all county level stuff.
Well, it's kind of like what you can do then in-house. Like, what are some of the things, like with recruitment? Could, like, get yourself out there. You could stage different not an open house, but as a principal, you can go to several recruiting fairs.
Right, go to different universities,
just don't rely on applications coming to you. Go and seek out people.
Right.
But you also want to make your school a place recruiters or applicants want to apply.
But see, in my county, you can't do that because, like in Guilford County, they have job fairs and stuff. But in Rockingham County, that's not how it works. Everybody applies to an online system, and then the principal can pull the resumes out of the online system if HR says this person is qualified. Then the principal has access to that. It's not like the principal can just go to a job fair.
Well, I thought it was the other way. I thought you do your application, you submit your application, the principal looks over your application and submit it to HR, and HR decides this is the person that we want, looking at the qualifications and the reason why.
HR sees it twice for us.
What?
HR sees it twice for us. They preliminary, they say, okay, this person does qualify.
Right.
Sends it to, and then the principal has access to it. The principal chooses who he wants, then he sends it back to HR, and they do the drug testing and the background check and say for sure it's okay for you to hire this person, kind of thing. Because when I first got my job, I did my application, I emailed the principal, and he said, well, I really want to interview, but I got to wait for HR to okay your application.
See, that's kind of. I did a lot of subbing in Rockingham County. It has to go through the print. It's kind of better, but it has to go through the principal first in order for them to send it to HR, because it's almost impossible to contact HR without going through the principal first. But yeah,
in Rockingham County, to get to the HR, Jonathan Craig is always answering emails, and he's the head of HR.
Mm-hmm. I know Jonathan. Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, like, they don't do background checks and final, like, okay, this person is okay. They just, like, look, okay, is this person even qualified for this job before they ever, so that the principal's not, like, wading through, like, my high school principal's not wading through a bunch of elementary applications.
See, where I am, or where I'm from, we have teachers who actually walk in their resume into the office. And then they say, hey, I'd like to talk to the principal. And they do. And from that point, we take their resume, we look at it as a team and say, okay, call this person in for an interview. They come in for an interview, and then we say, hey, go ahead and do your online application. Because there's no point you doing an online application if we don't want you.
Wow.
So once we've seen their resume, we've done all that, then we say, do your application online. And then they get the packet ready and send it off to HR. HR pulls their application, goes through their packet, and then that's how they're hired.
See, in Castle County, it's just the opposite. You do your application first online, then they look at the application and say, oh, Stephanie, she looking at her application, she looks like a teacher that we would want. But The problem that a lot of schools run into, they might look at your application, Paula, and you just might be shining. But once you enter the interview, it's like, what in the world? So it's kind of touch and go. So,
well, see, I guess in Pender, because we're so rural, people feel comfortable. I just park my car, go in, and they do, and they come in with a resume in hand, and they're dressed up, and they're like, hey, I'm, dropping off my resume. And that's how, like, 2 of the interviews we did last week was that way, and 1 girl was hired.
Wow.
Guilford County is different, too, because it's like Guilford County does job fairs, where all the principals go and set up tables, and everybody. I've never heard of a job fair in Rockingham County.
Oh, they do job fairs, and if you're good, sometimes they hire you on the spot.
Yeah, I got hired on the spot in Guilford.
They will hire
That
you on
day
the
because
spot.
I went to a job fair and I met the principal of the school I was at, and she said, "Can you meet me at my school at 4:00 to sign your contract?"
They,
She hired you, but you still had to put your stuff in the system, right?
No, I had already done it because when I graduated college, I did Guilford, Rockingham,
Mhm.
Caswell, and maybe Wake.
Mhm.
So I had already done it. So all she had to do was call HR and say, "I want to hire this girl." And they emailed her contract and she had me sign it that day.
And
Wow.
did you have to do another thing this year, fill out some kind of application again for North Carolina Department of Education?
No, I just went. I got an email that said your contract is here, and I went to the treasurer and signed it. That's all I had to do.
Because our school, I don't know if it was just our school system, but I thought it was for all of the state teachers had to fill out. And I thought maybe that would make it easier so anyone in North Carolina can just move from one county to another. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just for the county.
Well, do you think that because I got my first job 4 years ago, it's something that they've been having new hires do for a while, and they just now went back and got people who've been hired longer to do it?
I don't know. I think
It may
every
have been
county
something
is
I did at the
different.
beginning.
Yeah, I think every county is just really different because when I'm doing the Zoom conferences with our professor, when he's telling us about some of the things that are happening around his area, I'm so surprised, that those things be happening and how much money some counties have over others.
Yes.
That is surprising.
Because in the last Zoom conference I was in, this one lady was talking and she said every student in their school had like an iPad or a laptop, and it's carried with them from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade. They're allowed to keep it, take it home, bring it to school. They use it at school. And I was like, wow, because we don't have that at all at my school.
We did at Caswell County. Every student had a laptop. They could take it home, bring it back. Of course, you have to pay a $30 insurance fee.
Mm-hmm.
We had them. Everybody had them.
Well, we have Chromebooks, but there's a $50 fee, and they don't get to keep them over summer.
Not over the summer. You have to.
But every student at your school has access to a Chromebook.
Yeah. Every student who can afford the $50 has access to a Chromebook.
And even if they cannot afford it's $30 for us. And even if they cannot afford it, you can use them, but you have to leave them at school. You can't take them home. So
it's not like that for us. If they don't have the money, they don't get it. And I mean,
even for use in school,
they don't get it.
You're kidding. Well, how do you all do research and projects? How do they do that research?
They give you 2 per classroom for the kids to use.
Share.
I mean, that is no.
Mostly, I let my kids do their online work on their cell phones, which is not the best idea, but it's what I have to do because we get in trouble if we don't use Canvas. So if I have like a passage or something they all need to see, and it's got to be in Canvas, then
it's just really interesting from county to county how
it is, because I cannot see not having every student not having a Chromebook or laptop for research.
At my school, every 5th grader, we're 1-to-1 with our Chromebooks in 5th grade. 4th grade is almost 1-to-1, almost. And then every other grade, they only have about 10 or 15 per class. They don't take them home. They can only use them at school. We have carts that we can check out. Right. They can use like iPad carts and things, but they never go home ever.
Wow. Well,
yeah, all of our math teachers have them, but I get them once a week.
Once a week?
Wow.
Wow.
See, this year was the year that I don't know if y'all had this problem, but this year that all of our computer labs were on XP computers still. So, and a lot of all of the classroom computers were XP. And this year was the year that XP had to be phased out because of all the security stuff. And they replaced one computer lab for our whole school. Did not replace any of the classroom computers because all the teachers have laptops. Got rid of all of our netbooks. So all we have now in Rockingham.
Is this considered like a impoverished county or?
Very. No, it's not as bad as Caswell, but we're very Title I. And there's only like one track of schools that's not Title I.
Well, actually, I did all of my, I have to be honest, all of my substituting and interim teaching there. I don't know what happened because when I was there, the kids had computers. That is not an impoverished school because I
At
did.
Moorhead?
Oh, Moorhead, right
I
there.
teach at Moorhead. We're like the poorest school in the county.
Oh, I'm right up the street from
Yeah.
Moorhead. I moved. So,
Yeah,
no.
and like we have like 4 tracks of schools in the county, like groups of elementary schools that feed into certain middle schools, feed into certain high schools, and the only one that's really not impoverished is the Rockingham County. It's like they call it Rockingham County High. That track is not really, but Reedsville, McMichael, Moorhead, that all us and all of our feeder schools, we're as Title I as it gets. Like I have kids who don't have water. The majority of my kids don't have water, at least the EC ones, and especially in Eden, because in Eden, the majority of Eden was employed at the Miller Brewery, and it closed down about 3 years ago. So most of my kids' parents are unemployed.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's bad.
Well, you would think though, and I'm sorry, Ann, the county I work in, they get Title I funds if they have a school like yours. You're not receiving that?
No, we get Title I, and we also get Gear Up funds, but it's just not enough to run a school. We're at the point this year where they're shutting down schools.
Is Mr. Ross still your principal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty.
They're shutting down several schools this year, elementary schools.
Gifford County, I heard that they were thinking about maybe closing some schools. But now have I heard anything about Rockingham County? Not as of right now, but Rockingham County schools and Rockingham County middle schools, most of our parents are like, no, doctor.
At the actual Rockingham County High and Rockingham County Middle, yes.
Yeah, they're kind of the upscale schools, the Rockingham
Yes.
County Middle and Rockingham.
Those are the kids that come out of Madison. Well, not so much Madison, but like Stokesdale and Wentworth.
So what will they do with the children who are going to the elementary schools that are getting closed?
They're doing redistricting and shifting them around.
Yeah.
So like they've got 4 plans right now that they're debating. And
Are teachers losing jobs, or are they just
no. They're saying no. They're saying that they're going to shift because we have such high teacher turnover in our county. They're saying they're just going to shift people to other jobs. But it's going to be 2018 school year when it starts, and it's there's like the Eden plan is the one I'm most familiar with because I don't like it and it'll change stuff for us. They would get rid of Draper Elementary, which is one of our 4 elementaries, and just split the kids between the other 3 elementaries that feed into Moorhead. And there's a plan for Madison where they would close Dillard Elementary and split those kids between Lincoln and another element. They're just shifting kids around and redistricting, making the districts bigger.
Yeah, they did that with Lawsonville School in Reedsville, and they closed it down and sent all the kids to Moss Street. So you have teachers in trailers, and you have a bunch of kids at one school.
Well, they're trying not to make that happen this time. They're trying because that was a fiasco, and what they're trying to do now is make it so they send a few of the kids here and a few of the kids there, and just redistrict.
Right.
So every district is slightly bigger. So there's not like another school gets all the kids from a school that closed.
Okay. Well, let's look at y'all want to look at placement and mentoring. We already talked about placement. Mentoring. How do you feel about mentoring within the school system?
I think we have a good program. No, I was just saying, I think we have a good program in place for our new teachers that are coming in.
I was going to say the same thing. I didn't find any gaps there. Our new teachers are always buddied up with somebody from day one. And they also have coaches from the county that comes in to help with lesson plans and, help them with anything they need. So we're pretty strong in that area.
Okay. We
are too. And one of the things that they've done for us is with our Gear Up funds is we have coaches from UNCG that come. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of my county provided coach, the one that's from central office, not my mentor. I love my mentor. But my coach from UNCG, I loved her to death. And she would just come in, sit down, and she would leave me these like pink sticky notes all the way across my desk, telling me what I did good, what I could do better, what she liked, and she knew all my kids' names and just really loved her. So that was a cool thing that they did for us with our Gear Up money, which is one of the Title I programs.
And that's only for new teachers?
Yeah. Well, they use Gear Up money for several things, but that was only for new teachers.
And that's only a program in Guilford County during that time?
I don't know if Gear Up is in other counties or not. I feel like Gear Up is in other counties because I feel like my Gear Up coach, Jackie, mentioned Wake County at one point, maybe, having to drive out there.
I mean, it might be something really neat to introduce into a county that's not using it. And their programs aren't good enough. Is it allowing mentors from a local college to come in?
I think it was just, they use part of the money to pay. I think what it is more so that it's because Gear Up is a grant, but it's only a grant for low-income schools, and the program facilitator has to write a plan of how the money is going to be used to make the low-income school better. And so that was one of the things she put in her plan, was hiring coaches.
Okay, yeah.
I know graduating from UNCW, I also had a mentor there that would come out and visit me as well. And she would just come and stay for an hour or two just to check in, see how I was doing, what did I need. And she could get resources for me. So if I was like, wow, there's this book I really need, she could get it because she had more resources, than I did. So that was very helpful.
And is that the same program, Gear Up?
No, it was a course that I went through. I don't remember the name of it.
It may have different names in different counties, because if I'm remembering correctly, in Guilford County it's called Mission Possible. If I'm remembering correctly, and it's the same program. But if not, Mission Possible is a very similar program then.
Okay. We have 3 minutes and 41 seconds left. Okay. What else do we want to discuss?
Well,
did we miss anything? Are we good?
I feel good.
I think we're good.
I think we're on the right track. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. That's all I can say. This test too had me for a moment there, but excuse me, I finally got on track and got it going. So
tough because we're not in school.
Right.
So I had to do mine a little differently. Rather than do an observation, I just sent out a survey to the teachers.
So it was a little tough, and I guess we'll start on 3. When are we gonna work on 3, ladies? I know Stephanie said you already looked at it. I looked at it briefly, but not in depth.
Yeah, I don't think this one will take as long because all the big work is done.
Okay, and August the 3rd is when we're supposed to have everything turned in.
And after this, we have to do our reflection too. We have task 3, and then the last part is the reflection.
Right. Has anybody been in contact with our coach, our clinical coach?
Ours
We only have about 4 weeks left.
And have you heard from ours? Because he emailed me and said that he was going to do something when he got back from vacation, and I haven't heard from him again. And I was wondering if...
I have not heard from him. I sent him an email, but I have not heard from him.
Okay. Just making sure that I didn't miss something.
No, I did send him an email, but I haven't heard from him yet. I'm thinking about maybe giving him a call tomorrow just to see where we are, because I haven't heard from him yet.
I think I got your storm, Ann. I think I'm trapped. There's no going home for a few minutes.
The thunder kind of quieted down a little bit, so
it's black outside here, and I'm right in Reedsville now, so it must have came to us.
Oh, right. I was living in Reedsville, but I moved to Eaton, so.
Well, I'm on 87 by Williamsburg Elementary.
Oh, okay.
So it is here now.
Moving. Okay. Well, we only have 1 minute and 15 seconds. Are we good, ladies? And I'm praying to God that test 1 recorded. I mean, recorded, but if it's uploading.
Okay.
I'm hoping, because It said it was uploaded, but I can't seem to find it, but I will keep looking.
All right. Well,
You have to do it a third time. It can only get better, right?
Right. Okay, then. Have a
Thank you
good
for
one.
doing that for me.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.